Look, I know what you're thinking. This bloke used to have a Continental GT 650 and he sold it. So why has he got the Interceptor 650 in the garage today? Well, stick around and I'm going to let you know. G'day throttlers and welcome back to the channel. Yes, it's true. I did have a Continental GT 650 when they first arrived in Australia. I absolutely loved it. However, the cafe racer position with the clip-ons just didn't suit my body. I felt lots of pain in my wrist when I was riding, no matter how many adjustments I made. I did change out the Interceptor bars on the GT, but I had two bikes at the time and couldn't keep two bikes, so one had to go, and unfortunately it was the GT. So when Royal Enfield reached out and asked me if I'd like to have the Interceptor for a few weeks, I said yes, and I'm very excitingly, because I've missed my 650 Enfield ever since the day that I sold it. So firstly, let's dig into all the specifications on this beautiful Interceptor 650, and then after that, I'll dig into all of my thoughts about the 3 weeks that I've had with this bike. The Royal Enfield 650 Twins are a 648cc engine. Maximum power is 47 brake horsepower at 7150 RPM. Maximum torque is 52.3 Newton meters at 5150 RPM. These are a fuel injected engine and have a 6-speed gearbox. Ground clearance on the Interceptor is 174mm with a seat height of 804mm, so it's quite suitable to almost any size person. A curbed weight of 202 kilograms and a fuel capacity of 13.7 litres, which is just a little bit more than the Continental GT. Front suspension is a 41mm fork with 110mm of travel. The rear suspension is twin coilover shocks with an 88mm travel. 18-inch tyres front and rear. The front brake is a single 320mm disc, with the rear brake being a single 240mm disc. Position and comfort on the Interceptor. I'm 5'10", 177 centimetres, just to give you a point of reference. And this is my riding position on the Interceptor. As you can see, my legs are tucked up a little bit on the mid controls, but that gives me a lot of control of the bike for high speed and low speed cornering. My torso is nice and comfortable and straight, nice neutral position, shoulders are down, and I just feel really comfortable on the Interceptor. It's actually one of my favourite riding positions. Sitting up tall, you've got a good vision ahead, and lane filtering, if it's legal in your state or your country, is something that's super easy on this perfect urban bike. So performance and handling, this little 650 is quicker than you would think. The acceleration off the lights is actually surprising for this size of bike and this style of bike. Not only is it great around the city and the urban environment, but you stick it onto the freeway and it easily does freeway speeds, and it will do them all day long without hassle at all. The single disc brakes on the front and rear of this are more than adequate for the purpose of the bike itself. I know some people are putting this on the drag track and on the racetrack, so if you're doing that, you'd probably want to do braided lines. But for the majority of people, these brakes are absolutely perfect. Now, one of the most common descriptions I hear about the 650 engine that's both in the GT and the Interceptor is that it's over-engineered. And by saying that, it means that, well, it's almost bulletproof. People are doing some great modifications on these engines and they are holding strong for years and years and years. So something to keep in mind, there are engine upgrades available. You can get a big bore kit, an 865 big bore kit for these. Now, in some states and countries, this is for track purposes only, so make sure you do your own research before you do this, but they're improving the performance massively on this little engine, and I haven't heard any negative results after people have done those upgrades. And in particular, Revelry Racing in Sydney from Royal Enfield Sydney, Santina and Will built an amazing drag bike out of a GT with the 865 big bore kit in it, and they're cracking into the 10-second marks on the quarter mile, and they're absolutely killing it. So if I was going to buy one of these 650s again, I would only do 3 major mods to start with. The first one would be air intake. The second one would be a set of pipes. There's some really nice pipes on the market now that makes a great sounding bike sound even better. And the last one is replace these tyres. These tyres are suitable for the city. If you're only going to be commuting on them, there's nothing wrong with that. But in my opinion, they are not suitable for highway speeds, in particular high speed cornering. So affordability and cost. Now this is where this thing absolutely shines. You get a whole lot of bike for the amount of money that you're spending on it. I think that this is probably one of the most budget-friendly quality bikes that you can get on the market here in Australia at the moment. So who is it suitable for? Well, one of the ultimate learner legal bikes you can get here in Australia. It's a LAMS approved bike. If you've just gotten your learners or your P plates, this is the ultimate bike for you, providing you like the retro styling. But it does it all. It's something that you won't outgrow in a hurry as well. The 650cc engine is just as good for the first ride you've ever done. And I've been riding for over 20 years and I still have so much fun on these bikes. Now also, I think it'd be an awesome commuting bike for urban bike. Anyone in the city or commuting to and from work, this is an epic bike. You can put some bags on the side, you can put a top box on the back, and it's the most practical, agile, versatile bike on the market. Look, this would also be a great touring bike. Once you've got your panniers on the back and a top box, maybe a small screen on the front, and you could munch down hundreds of kilometres every day on this thing without it missing a beat. In fact, in India where they're built, they ride their Royal Enfields far and wide on worse roads than we could ever consider, and they don't fall apart. Now the last group of people I think this bike is suitable for is the customizers. This is the perfect blank canvas to create whatever you want out of a motorcycle. Do you want a cafe racer? Do you want a tracker? Do you want a scrambler? Do you want a brat style? You can create anything on these bikes. In fact, I would love to grab one of these and scramble it. Turn it into a little scrambler, some off-road tyres, maybe some higher suspension. You wouldn't have to do much to make it a completely different bike. So customizers, give it a go. Finally, my pros and cons on the Interceptor 650. Now, the pros are the styling. It's very cool, it's customizable, you can turn it into absolutely anything you want. Another positive is that the engine is peachy sweet and quick, and again, customizable if that's what you want to do. The price is phenomenal. To get one of these, for what it is, the price is spot on the mark, and I can see why Royal Enfield are making so many sales here in Australia at the moment. Now the last of the pros, the positives, is that it's very beginner friendly. If you're a brand new rider, this bike is not going to scare you. It's going to give you a good time. You're going to be able to grow into it without having to upgrade or upsize, because this engine is suitable not only for the beginner, but for someone who's been riding for 20 to 30 years as well, and maybe they're stepping down off the sport bikes and back into a comfortable bike like a cruiser or a standard bike, and man, this does it absolutely all. So the negatives, the cons. Now before I dig into these, please remember the price of this. This is a budget, affordable bike. So these cons or these negatives are more based around price rather than fit and finish. So the indicators and the clocks are a bit plasticky. The rear lights are a bit plasticky as well. But again, remember, it's been built to a price. This is affordable. These are the things, if you're customizing your bike, you'll change out and put cool stuff on anyway, maybe LEDs, whatever it might be. Now, the only other negative that I've got are these tyres. Now, they're perfectly capable to do what they're supposed to do, which is just do commuter runs, be a city bike. Like, this bike wasn't designed to travel at high speeds. However, in Australia, we've got these beautiful open windy roads that we all love to ride on. And I just found at 100 kilometres on sweeping bends, I wasn't feeling very confident on these tyres. But that's an easy upgrade. Put a nice set of high quality tyres on this and it would change the feel of this at high speeds and in the cornering, and it would make it an absolute beaut to ride at high speeds. And now we're down to the final bit. Would I buy one of these? Well, here's the thing. I'm actually considering it. I want a small city bike I want something that I can customize and turn it into what my mind can create. And this is the perfect platform to be able to do it. So this is certainly on my top list of choices for what I would like to buy, for what I want for my second bike. Anyway guys, as always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching the videos. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the Interceptor 650. Of course, I've had a lot of fun on this in the last couple of weeks. Anyway folks, throttle on, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next video. See ya.